Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today is the not usual day for Ask a Herbert Erpaderp. Apologies for this being a bit late. Things have been a bit busy, but let's blame Barnaby, who, if you'll remember, I asked you for questions for last week. And this week he'll give his very sensible answers. So let's get to those questions. Xenogrief said, do you drink any alcoholic drinks, and if so, what is your favourite? I almost never drink anymore. I guess you could say that I used to have a bit of a problem with drinking. I would drink anything because I wanted to be drunk. Mostly because I was a miserable shit. I guess now I don't really have a favourite, though I would choose beer over wine. And I like anything with orange juice in it because I love orange juice. I do remember, well, partially remember one very sensible night drinking Harvey Wallbangers, and the following morning my friend vomiting out of his car window as he drove us to help somebody move. Good sensible times. Nowadays I don't really drink much at all. It's bad for the diabetes and I don't really feel much need to be drunk. Top Bunk Productions said, Barnaby, are you by chance related to any incident involving a barn with bees in it? Also, what is Barnaby's favourite and second favourite game?
No, but there was an incident once when I was mowing. It was in a shed with wasps. That's basically the same.
Wasps aren't bees, but it's close enough.
Satan bees. Never had a problem with bees ever. I stood on one once, but that was about it. Didn't sting me though. It stung my thumb. So like my overall favorite PC game or computer game would be like Doom, just the original Doom, and then like Diablo 2, I suppose. And then tabletop game would be Bolt Action, and then I guess Warhammer 40k, but not now 40k like the old nostalgic version I remember from growing up. It's like late 90s, early 2000s, whatever edition was then.
Duncan Hoover said, Barnaby, what is your favourite tank?
I like Panzer IV for some reason, I don't know why. It's just purely an aesthetic reason. It just looks very nice. Also anything made by Skoda, because of good, strong Slavic engineering.
Ratto said, Barnaby, does it disturb you that some Herbert dude streams your games?
Everything he does disturbs me. The streaming's fine, it's the other things that he does when he's not streaming. It's so disturbing.
The Chieftain said, what do you prefer? The Centurion Mark 9 or the Chieftain Mark 7? Second question, do you praise the sun? The only real metric I have to base any decision on is how those tanks look. I've not played either tank in a game, I don't think, and I've not much knowledge of real-world performance or anything like that. To answer, the Centurion looks a bit more appealing to me. Also, I certainly don't praise the sun. I'm pale and burn easily, and that bastard gives us almost constant summer. Though it is quite nice this time of year. Burner581 said, Barnaby, how did you and Herb meet, and do you meet up often IRL?
We used to play in a band together in the olden days, and yes, we meet up fairly regularly, I guess. And by that I mean like, we say we're gonna meet up, and then stuff happens, and then we don't meet up as much as we planned. We have been planning to have a game of Bolt Action together for like 4 months now, and that's working out really swimmingly.
Ratto said, Barnaby, why do you live in Australia? What's the best thing about Australia?
I live in Australia because that's where I spawned, and they don't let me leave. That's about it, really.
Best thing about Australia?
Fongs. God, Vegemarte's alright. I eat that sometimes. Quite salty and warm if you keep it in the cupboard in summer. Got like roads in that. That's pretty good, I guess. I don't know, just Fongs. I think that's a good answer.
Smoes said, Barnaby, do you build models and do you play war games such as Bolt Action with Herbert?
I do build models, and I do play games on occasion. Yeah, we played a couple of times. Years ago, before I had kids, we used to play like at least like once or twice a month. We were playing like Warhammer 40k back then. And we slowly moved to Bolt Action and Flames of War. I think it was like 5th edition Warhammer then. So that was quite a long time ago, and they brought out a new edition, and then they changed a lot of the rules, and I didn't particularly like them. And then I think that's sort of when we moved away from Warhammer 40k to Bolt Action and like Flames of War and started experimenting with other games. But to answer the question, yeah, I do models. I have a dedicated desk set up for doing it, but I only get like a couple hours a week to be able to actually do anything, and sometimes I'm just really lazy and I might instead just go and do something else for those few hours that I have free. But it's something that I'm interested in, and I just don't have a lot of free time.
McGobbo said, do you prefer to play your war games with fully painted miniatures or do you not mind? It always looks much better to play a game with painted models and scenery and such. I don't think anyone would argue that. Well, they might, but probably just to be contrary. I think it's much more fun when your game looks nice, but I have absolutely no issue playing with unpainted models. I'm not the sort of person to rush paint a model for a game. I don't play in tournaments or anything like that that have painting requirements anyway, so it's never been an issue, but I wouldn't be into doing that anyway. The main thing is that painted miniatures are known to fight better, so I would prefer to play with them, but I'll also field unpainted miniatures without issue. Ducking Tanker said, how many hairless mice would it take to operate a KV-2? I'm new to hairless mice, so I don't really know. Probably well over 9,000. Haha, memes. The big boy said, Barnaby, Herbert, are you really actors paid by the US government to act as Australians, even though Australia is actually an island on South America? Flat Earth Society strikes again, and misses.
No, I'm not filthy capitalist, CIA spy. No, I'm normal Australian.
Me.
So I'm gonna go and drink like a sack of food on the weekend and watch the sports game, and then go and do things. I'm gonna flip. Oh, that's the other best thing about Australia. Centrelink. Also, Medicare is not bad. I like that. I like being able to go to the doctor and not die when I get injured and hurt and sick, and not having to like mortgage my house. So I don't remember the original question I was answering now.
Smoes said, have you heard of an app, iOS, called Models Color? It's a somewhat database for what model products you have, like glues, paints, and decal solutions. You can also make a shopping list of what you need. I've not heard of this, probably because it's iOS, and I assume only iOS. I use Android, though it does sound like it might be somewhat useful. I'm pretty lazy and have a lot of model-related products around the place, and entering them all into a database sounds miserable, though it would be nice to have all of that information in one convenient location. I do have an app called Paint Rack, though as the name might suggest, it's really only for paint, and I think that's fairly up to date on the paints that I've got, though it is on my old phone and it doesn't automatically transfer to the new one. I guess the answer to the question is I hadn't heard of that until now. Ratto said, what do you think about Plastic Soldier Company boxes and box art? They're a bit bland and boring, ain't they? They're okay. The artwork is fine and it mostly shows what's in the box, but they're not really flashy and exciting, are they? But they are pretty consistent in their branding, which isn't a bad thing. I think because they are gaming models, they're more likely to sell kits based on what somebody needs for their army, rather than an eye-catching box. So yeah, they're not really the most exciting boxes, but they are effective enough. They let you know what's inside the box, and they're very easily recognisable as Plastic Soldier Company. Burner581 said, Barnaby and Herb, so both, XD, what was your first army in wargaming? My first army was Tau for 40k, though I guess technically I had an army of those old Revell infantry figures, British ones, but I never used them for any kind of wargaming, mostly because wargaming didn't really occur to me until much later.
My first actual army that I bought and put together and assembled and painted and everything and played lots of games with was a Warhammer 40k Orcs back in like 3rd or 4th edition. There's like a lot of cool rules that I really enjoyed back then that I think are completely different now because I haven't really kept up with it. But that was my first army. Then after that I had a Black Templar army. I can't remember how many points it was, but it was some ridiculous amount of points, like 2,000 or 3,000 points at the time. I don't know what it is now. And then after that I had another Orc army which was composed of my old Orc army, but then I decided to make a new one for some reason. And after that I did Grey Knights, and then started doing Ultramarines, and then I sort of just gave up on Warhammer 40k completely and then went to Bolt Action and Flames of War, and I've pretty much just been picking Germans for some reason. I just really like the German tanks. I feel like they're all really aesthetically pleasing.
Ratto said, Barnaby, are you a real person or just Herbert's imaginary friend / robot / AI?
Well, I am an AI programmed as a pleasure bot to service Herbert. Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Remember what goes on the internet stays on the internet.
I'm not a human, I am a bot, and I do unspeakable things.
Oh, things he does.
Like, this one time, I can't even say it, it's too embarrassing.
Go on, we're all friends here.
But I can't say it, it's too naughty. Alright, we took our shirts off and listened to Bohemian Rhapsody and sang it really loudly together.
I remember that.
And then at the end of it, we said no homo. And we were all completely sober.
Yes, definitely.
That's super sober.
We would never touch the devil's drop.
No, not even once. I'd only touch it to throw it in the bin.
Well, yeah, you touch the bottle.
Yeah, that's right.
On last week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, Mias Briada said, for Barnaby, what is Herbert's weakness? For Herbert, when will you do another post-apocalyptic car overdoing?
I guess, like, bullet? That's everybody's weakness, though, isn't it? Maybe, like, I don't know.
Big meaty penises.
No, that's more like his... That's like a... That's not a weakness, that's just something he enjoys
Well, you can't
thoroughly.
say no to one.
I recently bought the kit I'll be post-apocalypsing next, and patrons will have seen the box and know exactly what it is. But it's not a car. I think it's pretty cool and I'm rather excited to begin, which I will do soon, but I would kind of like to keep it a little bit of a secret as to what exactly it is. The Plastic Viking said, this is for Barnaby. Now that it's clear that this is for Barnaby, I shall ask my question. How are your Germans going?
They're highly, I guess. And they're a bit upset about how the war turned out. so just trying to deal with that at the moment. No, I'm getting there. I'm slowly putting it together. I've got all of the vehicles put together, and I started trying to put together the metal, like, cannon thingy. I can't remember the name of any of the things. I know that it had a tank in it, and it was the one with wheels, and I forget the name of it, and I don't know why it's escaping me right now.
Puma.
Yeah, Puma. That's it. Yeah, but I've put all of the tanks together. I stuffed up the Stug. Not that bad. I just really couldn't get the skirting right on it, so I just took it off. And I haven't even really started with the infantry yet. I started clipping the sprue, and I've got it like all set up ready to put together, but I haven't really gone any further than that.
Red Green 09 said, neat stuff. Okay, did you think of doing City Skylines to do a train set, if you don't have room? City Skylines is a fun game, and I definitely should play it again. Derptopia 2 needs some love, but I'm not sure it's a very good substitute for a model railway. Rolling Line, however, is pretty much a virtual model railway. I haven't played it lately, but it looks like they've been adding quite a few of the features that I wanted. Things like inclined track and tunnels. If anyone is looking for a model railway game, I would recommend it. I'll have to fire it up and play it again sometime soon. And that's all the questions for this week. Thank you for everybody who asked a question. Let us now go and have a look at the models posted by the community. James Valentine got the Rubicon Sherman Firefly kit. He's built both the 105mm to deal with those pesky infantry, and the 17-pounder so that tanks can also be killed. Looks nice. Now let us witness the painting progress. Here it's a very bright green. Apparently the decals, the numbers in particular, are way too fragile, but it seems like you got some of them on there, which is good. Here's some more progress with the Firefly turret installed. Looking pretty nice. And now it looks like the model is complete. Having seen James's previous work, I'm really not at all surprised that this is looking so good. This is a nice model and your painting skills make it look awesome. I'm definitely going to have to get this kit one day. Harry is mildly happy has shared some more progress on this beastie that we saw last week. My favourite comment on the second picture here was Ratto saying, "Dude, your dog looks angry." Top Bunk Productions shared some photos from turn 4 of his game of Bolt Action with the friendly staff of his local hobby shop. Apparently the Pringles can was not part of the scenery. This half-track is well and truly ablaze. The most dangerous unit in the game turned out to be the US Airborne HQ team. There was even tank fighting between this Sherman and the Panzer III in the distance. Here's the dead pile of turn 4. Notice there are no airborne casualties here. It looks like fun was had. Ethan Rowland has shared his 1/35th scale Tamiya Panther. It seems to be missing a few parts, but it still looks rather good. There was also this BT7, which was in the Melbourne Model Expo the other week. Looks awesome, though I'm not quite used to seeing BT7s that aren't jumping. He also shared this tiger which was also at the Model Expo. These are all really good work. Ratto said, morning at the girlfriend's relative's summer cottage. Time to paint. It's good to have priorities. Timbo101 recently finished this Edward 1/72nd scale Liberator GR Mark V, flown by the 311th Squadron, Czech Coastal Command out of RAF Predanik, Cornwall. Very nice work. The chin thing on this plane is interesting. Not all Liberators had that, did they? Either way, excellent work. McGobbo is back with some more Necromunda, this time Goliath Gangers. I'll admit to not knowing a whole lot about Necromunda, but it sure does seem to involve a lot of quite aggressive looking shooty boys. These are all really nicely painted, and I quite like the wide array of mohawks. Good times. The big boy has completed the basic painting on his Typhoon. It's now waiting for decals. Looks quite typhoony, and I'm excited to see it finished. The Chieftain shared work in progress on this Tamiya 1/35th scale Chieftain Mark V. This looks quite nice. Someone pointed out the Chieftain has a Chieftain as his avatar and is sharing a Chieftain. I wonder if this person might like Chieftains. Either way, nice work. Sneaky Zaku shared some work in progress on the Sanctuary houses for the coming Fallout tabletop game. I think these look really good so far. They look nice and appropriately falling apart, and I think they'll look pretty good with some paint and a good amount of weathering. You Idiot Kid shared a work in progress true scale Night Lord's Chaos Lord that they're working on for a buddy. Looks like a very angry choppy fellow. Good work. The Tourette's Gamer said, what do you think of this Flames of War Comet platoon I'm working on? I think it's very cool. Actually, on first glance, the picture looked like it might be a larger scale than 15mm. Very nice work. And that's it for models this week. Thanks to everyone who shared on the Discord. Excellent and motivating work as usual. And of course, this brings us to the end of this week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp. And I suppose now might be as good a time to mention that I'm going to change Ask a Herbert Erpaderp back to a fortnightly schedule. That means every second week for you Americans. The main reason is because I just want to have some more time to work on bigger modelling projects. So, if you have a question you would like answered on the next Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, go ahead and leave it in the comments section below or on Discord. And if you haven't already, why not sub here on YouTube, follow me on social media, or watch me live stream on Twitch. And if you really like what I do, please consider supporting over on Patreon, or perhaps purchasing a shirt or mug from my merch store. Links to all of those things are in the description below. And as always, I shall return soon, so until then, be excellent to each other and thanks for watching. Farewell.